Wisconsin's gubernatorial race is shaping up to be another midterms face-off between former President Trump and his vice president, Mike Pence. Pence announced he is endorsing former Lieutenant Governor Rebecca Kleefisch just one day after Trump said he'd hold a rally for his preferred candidate, businessman Tim Michels. The Republican primary will be held on August 9th in this battleground state. Just last week, both Pence and Trump were in Arizona stumping for competing candidates. Joining us now, former chairman of the Republican National Committee and an MSNBC political analyst, our friend Michael Steele. Michael, great to see you this morning. This has now been a few times that Pence and Trump have broken on candidates. There seems to be a splintering of a sort in the Republican Party. But weigh in here, you're the expert. Certainly seems like one of these candidates or figures, Trump, has a lot more sway than the other.
Yeah, I think Trump carries a lot of the momentum when it comes to endorsing these candidates. There's no doubt about that. But it is very interesting and telling that Mike Pence, his former vice president, is looking to angle into the conversation. And to be honest, that's a good thing. It actually, we can talk about the deep-rooted politics here, but it does say that there is now beginning to emerge maybe some type of vibrancy in this process inside the GOP and their primary process. Now, how it plays out when it gets into the fall remains to be seen, whether or not Pence rallies around these candidates if his candidate is not the winner in the primary and is the nominee in the fall. But it does open up some real interesting lanes right now, both from the political competitive side, both men coming head to head, possibly in a presidential race, but also in how the party is kind of saying, let's get back more into a competitive spirit here. We'll see.
I think we'll see is the right assessment there. And Michael, my new book, The Big Lie, out this week, is certainly discusses how Trump's false claims of election fraud fueled January 6th, but also talks much about what comes after that. And there was a moment, this is why I want to get you on, there was a moment there where the Republican Party could have turned its back on Trump. They could have severed that relationship after January 6th, after he leaves office. And yet it only took a matter of weeks for Kevin McCarthy to go down to Mar-a-Lago to apologize to Trump for speaking harshly to him on January 6th, and for the vast majority of the Republican Party to come crawling back. Why exactly did that happen? Was it out of fear? Why did the GOP decide not to do this?
Well, it's one of the more compelling parts of your book, and congratulations on that, man. It's a great read, America. You're going to enjoy it. It's a journalism triumph. And thanks for coming on the podcast yesterday, the Michael Steele podcast, and talking about it. It's really, really interesting part of the narrative, because essentially what you saw was that crystallized moment where the party could have said, we're done. In fact, they literally said that on the Senate floor and the House floor. We're done, right? And 2 weeks later, Kevin McCarthy punks out, goes down to Mar-a-Lago because his personal ambitions weighed more for him than what was happening to the country. And I think it's very telling and very compelling narrative about how the party, as much as it wants to let go at a critical moment like January 6th, at the end still serves at the altar of politics and personal ambition. And it is, and possibly could be, its undoing, because the country in a moment like that is looking for a leader to step up and emerge and take the country away from the pain, not lean into it. And the party blinked. They had that moment right in front of them. And for whatever reason, Kevin McCarthy turned that narrative around, and then all the pieces fell back into place.
Yeah, and what we see now is Trump, though his poll numbers have slipped slightly, still by far the biggest voice in the Republican Party. But yet he wants to keep looking backwards to 2020, while so much of the party wants to move on to 2022 and 2024. Michael Steele, thank you so much. We're going to talk to you again on Morning Joe in just a little while, and I'll take this moment to note again, The Big Lie, my new book, is on sale now.